Okay. So
It is up on YouTube on my end.
it
See
is.
Yes.
Okay. Little bit of a lag or no?
It is. Yeah, but that's usually how it does. So
Okay. Perfect. Um, I just want to know then, how do you get the chat up? Let's see. Oh, here, I got it now. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to record it from my end here. I'm going to make sure you thumbs up it. Get that algorithm
for sure.
rhythm going. Okay. We'll record to this computer. You ready?
Yeah, said it.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, to Nutty Buddy Entertainment. I am your host, Ryan, and with me to review the finale of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is Brian. Brian, how's it going today?
It's going, man. It's been a wild one with this series, but we've finally come to the end.
We
No
did.
secret 3 episodes coming out like I wished, but oh well.
We almost got the hour. It was 44 minutes, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, but they definitely crammed a lot into the 45 minutes. So
that's fair. That's fair. They did. So on today's episode, like always, we will be going through things that stuck out to us, questions we may have about the finale, how we felt about it. And we're actually doing something different today. We're actually going live on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on our podcast feed, we are going to do a little bit of lives on YouTube. And also we will come out with the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly review for the Kenobi series, where we go in to all the specific details of the series, the things that we liked and didn't like. But just for today's episode, we're focused on this episode in general, the finale. Brian, let's start with you, man. What are your general takeaways from this episode? How did you feel after this episode was done?
Yeah, general takeaway is I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a really good episode for the series. I don't know as much as for a finale, but we'll kind of get into a little bit more. It felt open ended. It didn't really feel close knit and kind of tied up as I was wishing, but that also probably is because they're going to be doing a second season of it. I kind of see forming, so I'm okay with that if that's the case. But yeah, I like the episode in general. It had some really cool stuff in it. But it definitely felt it open ended. So want to see more of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I also feel like this episode, the finale, like encompassed the entire series for me, like really high highs and then the like really low lows sort of. And I'm just like, there was some emotional tugging. I love some of the emotion it brought in, but then, some of the times it kind of took me out of the episodes of some of the decisions that were made and writing and stuff, which we'll get into when we talk a little bit more specifically about this episode. But that's kind of how I felt about when I was watching it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, there's definitely some things that I wish were not in it or would have been done differently, which we'll get into. But yeah, I want to say it's probably right behind episode 5 was probably my favorite, so this is right behind there as well. So yeah, I don't know, the last 2 episodes should have been what this series was throughout it, but unfortunately they just kind of left it for the end there to finally be good enough to watch, because episode like 3 was really slow and just whatever. And then as well as I can't remember 4 as well, I think 2.
Yeah, it's almost like, and so it was a 6-episode miniseries, but it was almost like they could have almost just done a 1 or 2 episodes of the first 4 episodes, almost. You know what I'm saying? And like,
no, yeah,
100%. Okay, you ready to get into this episode?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay, so what's your first takeaway when watching this episode then?
My first takeaway is when Reva shows up on Tatooine again. How did she get there so fast? How? Like,
Where did her
how did
ship
she
come
find a
from?
ship?
Yeah,
How did
right.
she get
No.
there? I don't know. Just seeing her first part of the episode, I was hoping that, she'd be a minor part of it, just a little bit. But the cutaways from this episode where, Vader and Obi-Wan were attacking, it's like, we don't need you to cut away to her. We don't really care about this side of the story. It's that thing of where, like, we know what happens with Luke and Leia. They're going to be all right
Yeah,
at the end of this. Like,
right.
there's no drama in it. And, our connection to her isn't very strong. It felt very forced. If it was something that, drew out for like, you know, 2 seasons and then
Mm.
she kind of turned towards the light, that would have been fine, I think. But it just, it didn't feel much of a redemption because, the first 5 episodes she was bad. And then this one, she then turns around and is, redeeming herself. It didn't flow.
Yeah, I agree. I agree also we could have used a longer time with her. I'm also like, to be honest, when it comes to Star Wars and redemption stories, I'm kind of like at my limit. It's like everybody redeems themselves, all the bad characters. Like I was
Yeah.
talking to Luke about it today, and I was like, they're gonna come out with like a mini series of Darth Maul just to make him like good, and I'm just gonna I just
Pretty much. From an aspect, I get it because Vader is the biggest redemption story in Star Wars, because at the end there he turns it around and he saves Luke and returns to the light side. So I get it, but that doesn't mean that everybody is like that, even as everything that they do is just like, oh, you can just turn it around. It's like, no, we need to, it kind of takes away from the characters if no matter what they do, everything's just going to be okay in the end.
yeah, I agree, and we'll talk about her character more. Just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll get to her more as we discuss this episode. And just to stay on the beginning, the other part that sort of didn't make sense is hi Megan. Megan's on. She said hi to us. So
Okay.
the other part that didn't make sense to me personally was so there. First of all, Bail Organa left a message that
Yeah.
he was going to check on Luke, basically, right?
Yep.
Like we never got that payoff. Nobody
No.
from Alderaan went to check on Luke.
No, and I mean Obi-Wan got there first before anyone else did, but I don't know. Did he get distracted because he finally got word from Leia that she was going to be returning home, so he stayed then? We don't know. But yeah, that kind of left it very open-ended on there, but who knows? Maybe cuz yeah, um Uncle Owen didn't receive any word about anybody coming for them. It was just Reva showing up, so
Correct. So there's that. And then while they were running away from the Imperial ship there, they were doing all these like crazy maneuvers and stuff. And did you notice like inside the ship though, everybody was like, they were all like, it wasn't chaotic. You think that people would be like moving around with the ship, like, as they're doing all these. So that kind of took me out of it a little bit, just kind of the
was it that passenger ship? I remember seeing Obi-Wan's ship like zigging and zagging, but I don't remember that one doing it as well. So it was
yeah, it
okay.
was the passenger ship as
Okay.
well. So to me personally, I just felt like that was crazy. And then they're like, oh, we need more time. We need more time. And then Obi-Wan's like, okay, I'm going to do what I need to do to buy you time. But then they're like, no, we can do it. We can do it without you, and it just took way too long for him to like just go through with that decision a little bit. So I felt a little bit like that was out of place in that show, in that part, I should say, in the beginning where this ship is they're trying to fix it everything's happening so chaotically,
Mhm.
and then but everything in the ship was still and calm, except they were all kind of acting, like talking like they needed to be in a hurry. And then yeah, so I didn't understand that either.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of just set up for a way for Obi-Wan to be separated for them and then have, Vader
Hmm.
obviously was going to be following them. I didn't really mind that too much. I don't know, with the whole like ship moving and stuff like that. I kind of just wrapped that up to, inside a spaceship and you're not going to have like the hard swings or whatever, but I don't know. But I did feel like, especially in like that scene and then through the rest of like the episode, um Ian McGregor was definitely he pretty much carried the show for the season. I honestly, I think Obi-Wan, just like his character throughout the entire thing, was the only like kind of just like steady thing of progression throughout it that really carried the show for the most part.
Yeah, like I think that's the thing is like, and again, I would talk to Luke about this. It's like almost you got basically everything you wanted out of Obi-Wan, and like for me, Obi-Wan and Vader, like they
Yeah.
carried this series.
Oh,
And
100%.
I wish, like we've talked about, that they would have just focused on those two guys a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it seemed like, they wanted to bring in Reva for this redemption story as well. And then
Mhm.
also with uh Ice Cube's son, I can't remember his name, but they were kind of setting him up for something as well because he's like, continue this rebel or whatever. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just getting started." And it's like you're introducing these other characters where it's like, yeah, you can set them up for separate shows, but it's like the focus needs to be on this show and you better
Mhm.
be doing it right by the writing that you're having in these characters, like making it cohesive so it doesn't feel just kind of like disjointed and sloppy.
Yeah, that's correct. I agree. Okay. What's another takeaway that you had from this episode?
um i I didn't like how they left Qui-Gon till the end. I feel like, when he was the perfect point to bring Qui-Gon in was right before he was when he landed on the planet and he was getting ready to fight Vader. He had his lightsaber in his hand and he was talking to him. Like that's a perfect spot for him to give him some wisdom and some advice, dip out. He has the fight with Vader, he wins, and then later on, towards the end of the episode, bring back Qui-Gon again. It was this thing that was teased since the first episode, and I wish we would have gotten more out of there. But yeah, I was pleased when he finally showed up. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't know if it was just going to be a voice or him himself. So it was cool to see Liam Nelson there. So yeah.
Yeah. So, um, it was a great cameo of the Liam Neeson
Yeah.
that he was there, right? And so just like
Yeah. No,
Emperor
yeah.
Palpatine, right? I
Yep.
agree with you 100% on
Yeah.
that. The trouble is I felt like there was, and this is where I say, you know, personally for me, it's just not great writing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there could have been a stronger moment for him to show up? It, like you said, um, hi Tommy, hi Tessa. There, I sent them a link, so we got some of our
Okay.
friends on.
Cool.
But anyway, the if you guys haven't watched Obi-Wan yet, though, guys, we are talking about that, so that's a spoiler. And don't forget
Spoiler
to hit
alert.
the like button. Yeah, this is going to be an awesome podcast edit. But I guess the one thing is like I felt like it would have been a stronger moment if, like, you remember in episode 1 before he went, Qui-Gon meditated before those doors open,
Yeah. Yep.
okay. Um, that would have been cool if Obi-Wan went into that like meditative state, the same stance as Qui-Gon, and then Qui-Gon came and gave him the pep talk he needed to beat Vader. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So I felt, even though it was really cool to have that as a cameo, I did think that it would have been much cooler if they made that moment mean more when he showed up for the first time.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of left kind of open ended just because in the second season maybe we'll get more of that relationship with Qui-Gon, and that's where Obi-Wan starts to act more like him because he gets more training from his old master. So yeah, I wish there was just more of a I don't know. He had more of an impact on something that happened in this season compared to like, I don't know, will we even see him next season, or it's just gonna be like, you're trained, you're good to go, see you later.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think they're going. Hopefully, like who knows with Disney Star Wars? That's for
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure. Um, let's talk a little bit about that fight because that's kind of the next big thing that happened.
That's yeah. I mean, that's the pinnacle of this show. That
Yeah,
that fight. Yeah. I thought the other fight was good, but this one was yeah, exceptional. It was great.
yeah, amazing, right?
Yeah.
Now there's been some people that are like, hey, just so you know, if you guys are going to stay watching, if you have any questions, you can throw it up in the chat, just so you guys know, because that's what we have it for. But anyway, what was I going to say? Some people are comparing it to the moment in Mandalorian, which I don't agree with. I think the Mandalorian end of Mandalorian season 2 is still probably the best Star Wars I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
But this battle was amazing.
Yes.
The rocks, when Obi-Wan lifted the rocks and Vader did the same thing, it was just well done. I thought the choreography was pretty good as well.
No,
So
yeah. Yeah, Ewan McGregor, his whole fighting style that he has with Obi-Wan and what he was able to do with this. Also, when he was buried by Vader and he was still holding those rocks up and he was able to tap into his emotion and come back as well. But just like the entire like Vader fight where he was starting off kind of like he did the first time he saw him in the desert, with just using one arm and that's it, and then having to go with using two hands into the battle, and then just his stress throughout that entire thing with Vader, and then to top it off when he cut his helmet open was just like, it was great. This whole battle, it seemed more like a movie scene than like a television scene, which I don't know, this whole, I know it's a TV series, but you still want it to feel more than that, especially for something that's Star Wars, which the planet that they were on felt very like Star Wars. I liked
yep.
what they did with that. It was a perfect like place for that to happen.
You ever see Avatar: The Last Airbender?
The movie or the TV show?
The animated series.
Yeah, like a season of it, maybe.
Yeah. So the final battle, the terrain that the Avatar fights Fire King Ozai is the same. It reminded me of that terrain. So if you never seen the final season of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you won't know what I'm talking about. But I really like the terrain that they were on.
Okay, cool.
Hey Brandon's on. How's it
What's
going,
up?
man? We're just talking Kenobi. You can stay and add to the conversation. Guys, if you want to in the chat, let's have a little fun. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Just let us know. But one thing I thought was super cool. So in Rebels, wait, I can't tell you. You haven't seen it yet.
No, I'm like 3 seasons in, so I don't know. Is it towards the ending or what?
Did you see
the Ahsoka fight with Vader?
Okay, you do?
Yes.
Okay. Then I can tell you this. Okay. So I think the left side of the helmet was cut off by Kenobi. The right side was cut off by Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then I guess, this wasn't my idea. I read this on, I think Facebook or something. And he said, but Luke was the only one that was able to take the full helmet off.
No, yeah. I
and
saw
I was
that
like,
as
that's
well.
so cool. I was like, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's very poetic. And then again with the voice kind of bleeding in with Earl Jones, and as well as Hayden Christensen, like it's so perfect mix, and just like, I don't know, you still get that struggle of him not wanting to be Anakin, but yeah, he's still in there. You can still sense it. He hasn't done away with him completely, no matter what he's doing right now. So
that's fair. And wasn't his eyes blue to start out when his helmet first got off? There was like a little blue and then it went orange.
Yep. Yeah. It, which was too with like when he was first talking with Obi-Wan, you got his saber like bleeding through that color. And then as Anakin was starting, or Vader was starting to talk more, then it bled into his like red saber coming through with his anger. So yeah, no, it was very well done.
Yeah. Great fight. Hey, Travis. Yeah, we don't like Star Wars anymore. That's what we're discussing. Yeah. Of course we like Star Wars. I'm still playing Galaxy of Heroes, Travis. Come on. So there's two things about the fight though I have to talk about, because I
Oh
guess
boy.
it was an amazing fight. But the first is that, like, so Obi-Wan's using the force to hold up the rocks, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's tapping. Vader just leaves him. Why did Vader leave in that spot? That's like, he
I
should be able to sense that Obi-Wan's still alive. So why would
should
he
he?
leave?
Because he left Reva as well. So I don't know. I think he's just here's my thing. I think Vader is so just kind of full of himself and just like I defeated him. He's dead. I'm not going to look back. Just continue forward. You know, that's what's kind of in my mind of why he, just left him for dead because he thought he killed him. But I think he's just very arrogant and he just doesn't look back. It's the same thing with Reva, which is, yeah, it's kind of also just bad writing because, yeah,
Mm,
why wouldn't you look back? Or how did you not hear Obi-Wan coming up behind you, you know, with a lightsaber or something like that? Obviously, he probably was using the Force or something as well. But two, when Obi-Wan kind of breaks through that rubble, like, wouldn't you hear that? You know,
yeah. Yeah,
so
that was pretty loud. Yeah. And okay, so the second part is like, so I was talking to Luke about this, and I told him that Obi-Wan is just not a closer. Like, if he was in a basketball game, you'd play him for the first 45 minutes, but the last 3 minutes you would take him off the court, because like he doesn't know how to finish Darth Vader ever. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand why he let, like, it would have made more sense if he would have piled rocks on him and just mistaken him for dead, the same way Vader mistaken Obi-Wan for dead. But to just
Okay.
let him live, like, when you know what he's capable and what he has done in that moment, I didn't quite understand why he just walked away from the fight, knowing that Anakin, Vader was still alive.
I think he can't bring himself to kill him a second time because he already tried to do that and just like even so with everything that's going on, I don't know. It's also we know what happens with this, so you can't really leave him for dead or kill him. It's the same thing with the previous stuff. It's like it would be cool to, have something happen with the rock piles on both ends, but in the long run, we already know where this outcome comes to. So
Right. It's just that you have to, I guess, in my opinion, it's like, yeah, we all know that they all live, right? Like, we know
yeah,
that Vader lives, but we don't have to know that. Well, I mean, we know that, but Obi-Wan doesn't have to know that. He could have just piled the rocks on him and left him and thinking, okay, now he's done. Like, what I'm saying? We know he'll still live, but I just feel
yeah.
like you don't leave that, that fight, with him still alive, or, at least not knowing that he's not dead or whatever. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, yeah. I mean, in New Hope, he does say like he tells Luke to kill Vader. So at some point, I think it reaches a peak where he doesn't find any hope for Anakin or Vader anymore. So I don't know. Maybe the second season we'll get more into that where it's just like Vader's gone off the deep end and Obi-Wan's like the only way to fix this is to kill him. So
Yeah, maybe, but remember, he killed the younglings. He killed the younglings, so he kind of deserves death. That's okay. Tommy and Tessa asked us a question. I'm not quite sure. Why would Pelps tell Anakin not to have hate towards Obi? It was strong feelings that led Anakin to the dark side. I'm not sure. I
yeah, he was speaking about his emotions toward his old master because it's clouding his
mm,
judgment, I think, more so than, it fueling his anger. It was just, not focusing on what he needed to.
that's yeah, that's fair. And Travis answered that too. He said, I think he didn't want Vader to just focus on Kenobi. So, like you said,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
brought
yeah.
in
It was the
the
whole thing with
horizon.
kind of like the Grand Inquisitor being like, we don't need to go after him. We need to, get these rebels and,
Right.
willing to do
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah, I will say though, like, Anakin was most likely, just the last thing about that fight. We talked about he talked about Anakin being dead. Like, which was interesting because he kind of contradicted his point he made in episode 3, where he's like, I am what you made me. And then in this episode, he's like, Vader's like, I killed Anakin, basically. Um,
yeah.
but I think they like that Anakin is still in there, and that's why Vader wasn't able to destroy Kenobi, because I feel like Anakin didn't like, there's still feelings from Anakin towards Kenobi. So
No,
he
yeah.
wasn't able to go all out on him.
Yeah, he's not full Vader that we get in A New Hope yet. He's still
Mm.
got, what, like 7% left in
Yeah,
him, maybe, of
yeah,
Anakin. So
yeah, a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Uh, okay, let's talk about. What do you want to talk about now? So, what's
I
another?
guess, well, within the battle scene too, I kind of brought it up earlier, but the flashes to Riva on Tatooine, then back to this awesome fight scene, and then just like she's half dead with like a gut wound with a lightsaber, like barely being able to defeat his aunt and uncle, and then we're getting like that compared to like the saber fight as well. I just i wish they would have done less of that, or just have that in like the first half of the episode and kind of just cut it off where she finds him kind of at the bottom of that rock pile. But yeah, it was just annoying, especially because we don't have that like deep connection with her to really like be rooting for her to do anything. So
Yeah, no, that's true. The other thing is, I don't quite get is her whole motive was to get vengeance on Vader, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
So
why?
with that hologram or whatever, she then knew that Luke was his son. So he's like, well, I'm going to kill his son because that'll bring pain to him, or
But Vader
get
doesn't know
revenge.
about his son.
Well, I don't know if she knows that. That's the only thing. But also, if she was to kill him and then go to Vader and say, like, hey, I killed your offspring, you know,
Yeah, I don't like.
yeah,
I guess
I don't know either, but
I don't get why her
that's
motivations switch so suddenly. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I guess what I get why her motivation, because you'll have an idea of what you want to do, but it's like actually following through on that. So when she had the chance to then, stab him with the lightsaber, she didn't, because obviously she recognized like this is what happened to me, so I can't bring myself to do this as well. Um, but yeah, the whole thing of like still like she feels like she's letting down the younglings that died was a little, I don't know, twisted thinking, where it's like taking a young life for another young life really doesn't work like that. But yeah.
yeah, I did like that. It was like she couldn't become what he became in order to fulfill her vengeance. Like, it was implied. I can't remember the exact wordings, but basically that's what Obi-Wan said. Like,
Yeah.
she wouldn't cross that line that Anakin crossed, to get what he wanted, which I thought
Yeah.
was really nicely said. Like, that scene was very powerful. It just didn't mean a whole lot because we weren't, like, I personally wasn't super invested in Reva at all.
No, we weren't connected to her. And I think it was just, like I said, if this was kind of, if we had more episodes and it was like a 12 episode series, and this was the end for her, and we can kind of see that steady progression of her going from the dark side into the light side, which I did actually find interesting with her lightsaber. It wasn't, a strong red. It was kind of like flickering when she had it on. So you could see that kind of like confusion in her with that, which was some good visualization. But yeah, it just needed to be more, I don't know, for an arc like that, 6 episodes isn't enough, especially for
Right.
the way that they wrote it. So if she was, by episode 3 starting to turn instead of interrogating Leia in a
Yeah.
ship trying to kill her, then
Right.
it might be different.
No, that's fair. I think you're absolutely right. I think if they would have just actually even letting us know what her goal was in like episode 2, like, okay,
Yeah.
this is her purpose, so then we could
Yep.
live with her through her purpose. Like, we can feel her emotions every time she enters a room with Darth Vader. We feel it, like the tension there. Anytime she has to force herself to do something bad, we feel that, because we know she doesn't really want to do this, but she has to get to Vader. So I feel like that could have been written a little better for sure.
Yeah, because episode 2 is when we find out that she knows Anakin is Darth Vader. And if in
Mm-hmm.
episode 3 we would have gotten a flashback where we see why she knows that, then we can, see what she's up to and like where her mindset is throughout this, and saying like, okay, she wants revenge for him. So we can kind of see like there might be redemption in her. It was just,
Yeah.
it took a little too long to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. It's so true. So true. Um, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, can we just talk about the scene where like Uncle Owen's like, we got to get out of here, and Aunt Beru's like, I'm not leaving my home.
Yeah, I got the sawed off shotgun in the hiding in the wall. Here you go.
Like,
I honestly, when she threw the gun to him and I saw it was like sawed off, I'm like, is this a blaster or isn't it actual like bullets in it? I was a little confused for a second, but it was a blaster, but it looked like it was just a sawed off shotgun. So
yeah, but why would she want to stay though? Like, I don't understand.
well,
They should have left.
yeah, but I guess maybe she just doesn't want to be on the run. She also like she made it very clear like she didn't agree with him on like him saying Uncle Ben or not Uncle Ben, Obi-Wan needed to leave, and just go away. She was against that. So I don't know. Maybe she was holding out thinking that he would come back or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if I would run in that scenario or just, kind of like defend and try to get the upper hand. So
Yeah, I guess that's interesting because like I guess if it's a force, well, okay, so their sole purpose really should be to protect Luke, right?
yeah. No,
So
yeah.
I mean, like for me, and it kind of like when who was it? Obi-Wan at the end when he's like, "Oh, you guys will protect them," sort of attitude as he goes and he runs into the Qui-Gon. What I didn't quite understand about that either is they just like failed at protecting him. They failed at it. So why is Obi-Wan like, yeah, you guys will do good because like they just failed at doing it. So I
Well,
didn't quite get that either.
yeah, I guess the threat is no more. I guess just like she obviously knows who Luke is, but the threat isn't there anymore. And if Obi-Wan's leaving, more of the threat is going to go away from
Okay.
there. That's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying I could have. And then the last thing I'll say about them is when they were looking for Luke, they didn't go very far from the
No.
house.
Well, they also got their butts kicked by Reva. So he was just like hobbling on a makeshift crutch. And yeah.
yeah. I was like, wouldn't you go out further than like 10 feet from your
I know.
house?
Yeah.
But yeah.
She told him to run. And it's like, do you think he just like walked a couple of feet? But
Yeah, no, that's great. Um, let's see here. Anything else on this episode, the finale?
yeah, I was surprised that Leia still has her memories of everything that happened. Do we want to get into? I know
Yeah, let's
that was
talk
going to
about
be a
that.
little bit of a thorn in your side, but yeah. But like, here's the thing. It's left very open ended right now because I think there's going to be a second season, and I think it would make sense for this story to progress with Leia as well, especially now that she wants to take over from her father. So kind of more of a teen Leia. Maybe we'll get to see more of her progressing, as well as in the New Hope. She does know Vader and has had some sort of run in with him. So I'm thinking that we're going to see some sort of thing happen with both of them where they're at odds, sort of a thing. So I don't think it really hurts the story if it doesn't quite line up with A New Hope right now with that, but also with Obi-Wan telling her, we have to keep this a secret. Don't let anyone know that you know me. That might be that trying to loosely tie it up, depending on what they do with the second season.
So, okay, this is where I'm struggling with this. And obviously,
Mhm.
patience might be needed. Like you said, there
Yes,
is
yeah,
another
no, yeah,
season. But I'm just saying
100%.
right now, for what the information we know. Um, it it why wasn't she broken up when he died in episode 4 then? Like that's the thing I can't like one of the things I can't reconcile with is like if she knew him this well and he died, why was Luke more emotional about Obi-Wan dying than Leia in episode 4? Because it's just like you're making more holes by not just doing something simple as like a memory wipe or whatever.
True. I don't know if they run into each other again. Obviously, we won't know until future, but I mean, if there's a 10-year time gap between that spot, I mean, maybe I'm kind of thinking like if I've met someone that I know 10 years ago and I haven't seen them for 10 years and then I see them again, like I'm not going to still have the emotional connection I have with them when I did 10 years ago, if we got really close or something like that, especially if you're not talking or seeing each other or something like that. So I don't know, maybe this is her as just a young person. And then when she's older, she still remembers him, but doesn't really have that connection with him as much as Luke does because he's been training him.
That's fair. I would say though, like she and him, like he saved her life twice. That's a connection. Like
True. Yeah.
like we've never had that happen for us. Like I mean,
Yeah.
But I guess that's fair. The other thing is it just the message. It doesn't matter. Like people are trying to say, well, she's trying to be professional and be, with the message. And it's like in the message in episode 4, the reason why she knew who, and this is the other thing. No one ever questioned it before. Before the series came out, everyone's like, oh, it was such an ambiguous message. It's like, no, it wasn't. It's only now an ambiguous message. I mean, it's fine if that's the way you want to look at it.
To be completely honest with you, I really don't care about the message and like,
see, I know. I'm
attitude about it, or like how she said it and what her feelings are and stuff. I'm just like, it's a message that's like 30 seconds long. It's like,
I know. I just my problem is I'm so into these details. It's stupid sometimes, but it's just like the reason why she knew Obi-Wan was because of the stories that Bill told her about him, right? And so now I understand it's partly my fault. I'm not like that. I'm okay admitting that, but I don't have to like it either. I just wish it would have been simple. Just replace her memories or mind wipe her, and then I'd be okay with it. Or just like when you're writing this story, just give Obi-Wan like an alias that he shared with Leia. Like just, hey, my name is Ralph. Then she never knows that that's who came and saved her.
True. I mean, if they would have not told her, his name was Obi-Wan, just said he's Ben or whatever,
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so but you're right in the grand scheme of things. Like I was thinking about like when we do our whole series review, I was thinking about like when I describe this show, I'm going to say it's just like the prequels to me. It's like at first when we watched it, there are things we love the prequels. I love the prequels. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I can sit there and tell you what's wrong with the prequels. Like there's a lot wrong with the prequels, but I still have fun watching it. I feel like that's what this series is going to be for me personally. Like
kind of, yeah.
I think I'll love watching parts of this series, but it still has its flaws. It does. So
yeah, okay. I'll be interested to, because we'll do a, great, good, bad, and ugly for this. So I'm going to rewatch it again and just seeing it, all of it. So, instead of just watching week to week and just binge watching all of it, seeing how I like it then.
Yeah.
Which I guess they're releasing it in theaters or something.
Oh, really? Like the whole series?
Yeah. Yeah, I think cool. So. Yeah. In some places. So.
Interesting. That's cool. Okay. Anything else about this episode that we have to talk about?
No. Yeah, we just got Qui-Gon at the end finally, and then it just still feels unfinished. But I think that's just because we're gonna get a little bit more of the story developing. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think we'll get a season 2 of Kenobi. That's what and then Reva will probably get her own series. I'm imagining.
Most likely. I mean, if Yoda gets one, why wouldn't she? So
yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that's true. I don't want them to. I really wish Disney would just try to make their own stuff, like outside, like go. I mean, we've talked about this, but like 500 years into the future, let's just try it. Let's just try it, see how the fans react to it.
Well, I know Taika Waititi is getting his own show, but he said it's going to be all original stuff. Yes. So I don't know when that's happening, but I'm kind of envisioning that they're trying to like actually plan something out. So that's going to take a while. So maybe we're just getting this kind of filler stuff until they actually full form something where we can, don't have to worry about all what's going on in the Skywalker legacy. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hope we get that too. I hope we get just something beyond. and new, and then we don't have to worry about these canon issues and all that other stuff that they
Yeah.
like to
30-second messages and a droid, you know.
yeah, that's the way it is. Okay, well, that's it for today, guys. Unless if you have any other questions, we'll wait like 30 more seconds, 40 more seconds, but just look out. We do have for those watching, we do have the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly out of Thor. Me and Brian and his wife Sarah joined us for the first time, and that was super fun.
Yeah.
And we also have, episode Star Wars episode 1, 2, 3, great, good, bad, and ugly out, and
maybe
on the
for the next one
podcast.
we'll get your wife on and we'll have a dueling battle of couples there, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe. Well, see, the thing with my wife is she's not a movie watcher.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she's not a movie watcher.
Okay.
But she did ask me like 2 weeks ago, like, if you were to start me up on Star Wars, which one would we start with?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question.
What would you start? Like, if somebody asked you, where would you start?
Start with Solo, nice.
No thanks, though. I was thinking just like I watched episode 4, I'd probably start with.
Yeah, maybe that, or maybe Rogue One. I don't know. That might be. I don't know. I love Rogue One, and I think that's a good kind of like blend of kind of like new cinema into the old cinema there. So
okay, no, I like that idea, Rogue One, because then you get a taste of everything that's kind of leading up into episode 4.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, man. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Brian, for joining us here, joining me, I should say, here today. We will do more lives. I'll talk with Brian off air, and we'll make a plan of that. And then if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, like the video if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram at nuttybuddy_entertainment. And also we do podcasts. So I'll be putting this podcast up, but we have a bunch of podcasts. If you search Nutty Buddy in your podcast feed, you will find us. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you guys soon.